Yes. David Lynch told me specifically, stop wagging my French fry too much. I was wagging my French fry too much. My French fry was acting. It was acting very upset with my neighbor.
Thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut today. My guest is Darryl Robert Small, who began his career in Southfield, Michigan, performing in print ads at just 8 months old. See? And he had no training, and he just did it. Taking on lead roles at the age of 5, after a diverse career in music, business, and film, he has since acquired over 50 IMDb credits and worked alongside industry icons like Reese Witherspoon and David Lynch. Welcome to the Downing Cut, Darryl. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's actually up to 70 IMDb's. Gosh.
70 now.
Where does the time go?
Well, holy smokes, I wasn't keeping track, so it's good.
70.
We'll make that and 70. I'll put ones 70.
69 for acting and 1 for pyrotechnics. Yes. I got to blow things up one time.
Are you an expert at pyrotechnics, or did they just give you a button?
I actually did pyrotechnics for a career for a little while.
What?
Maybe about 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, I've got.
So can you do like squibs and all that stuff?
Yes, I prefer to do hydraulic squibs. I don't necessarily like watching people have explosives taped to their body, but I did mostly 4th of July shows, a lot of fireworks and all the Indian reservations. I did some smoke and explosions for the film with Sanaya Lautzes. And the gentleman who is in... Yes, Eddie and the Cruisers. That's right. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Remember Michael Paré? I got to shoot dust balls at Michael Paré. It was really interesting.
So tell me, what is hydraulics? What is that? Hydraulic squibs.
They use the force of air as opposed to the force of an explosion. So you'd want to have an air pocket, a little balloon with a ketchup packet of blood or whatever, but popping out by the force of air, which is safe. Otherwise, you'd be taping like a firecracker to your midsection, and they could get hot and they can misfire, and there's a little bit more safety that goes into something like that. Rather than having a balloon pop in your face, I would rather have air blowing my hair away than having my hair blown away.
Well, what about going through shirts and stuff? Do you have to pre-cut the shirt?
A lot of times they use pre-cut clothing, rip away clothing sometimes, whatever they got to do. 2 or 3 layers of clothing for sure, a safety layer, especially if there's anything that has to do with fire or heat transfer.
And then do you need like equipment? What kind of equipment do you need?
You need to have a license. You need to have insurance. You need to be bonded, and you need to have experience and experienced people around you and a proper set. It's really it's not one of those things that just any Yahoo who can go to a fireworks stand or take apart fireworks, God forbid, and try and make his own
I can't take those little poppets and just throw it at the actors. Bang!
Bang! Well, you can, but that's when CGI comes into effect. You see, you throw the poppers and they go, ow, 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 and then you add the machine gun fire, and the fire and the explosions and the dust and the mushrooms jumping after them, cha-ching, cha-ching. Oh wait, no, that's a video.
I wondered if I could just use a slingshot and just kind of pull it back.
You can use a slingshot, or you could use a CO2 charged pneumatic launcher, shall we say, that looks more or less like a small, large caliber handgun, which is kind of a fun thing to use.
So you shove the poppet down. It'll explode before it hits the person, though, wouldn't it?
All right, safety first. Now we're giving bad advice.
But it's good to talk about because you got to talk about the bad stuff first before you can do the good stuff.
We've heard in the news of people losing their freedom, people losing their
Oh,
lives, and stuff like
yeah,
from
yeah.
bad
I'm
stuff.
not talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about. Let me. Do I have it? Let me show you something. Let me just. I know we're going off topic, but let me show you something. I was looking online. So here you have a prop gun. It's got the orange tip. It's not even real, and it's got. Oh, I need to clip. And it has this plastic. It's got these bullets. Now I saw this, and the reason why I got this is because watch this. Right? It's empty, but if I hold down the slide, watch this. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a toy. I've only seen toy guns where you have to slide it back, bang, slide it back, bang. This thing had a spring, and I thought, okay, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
So that's one solution, and then you just add this, paint this black, cut it off, whatever. Add CGI, boom, and it ejects these little plastic shells.
So it might look fun on film,
right?
getting
So
the little
that
slow
was,
motion discharges.
but you know, that was my. There's our sidecar.
You've been around
going on.
You've been around as long as I have, right? I've been like 2000.
No, you're not. I didn't
2009.
start when I was. I didn't start when I was 8 months old.
Look, I didn't have to do much for the diaper commercial. I just sat there and pooped. I mean, it didn't show a whole lot of talent.
Hey,
My wife thinks I can still fart on cue, but shh.
that's. I wouldn't doubt that. Actually, that could be true. You're pretty talented. Well, Darryl, let me ask. Let's get back into this interview. Actually, let's just start the interview.
Yes.
How,
Hi.
in your perception, we know that you started at 8 months, and we know that you were taking lead roles at the age of 5. But how did your journey start into this acting, and what really kind of solidified you in going, hey,
I'll tell you.
I want to act.
I'll tell you. I was a little kid. I was 4 years old. I was in Hebrew school. And they were looking to cast somebody to play King Nebuchadnezzar. Well,
oh, you said that very well.
I could read lines. I could read at 4. I could tell time. I could speak 2 languages. So they picked me.
Wow.
And I had some lines, and I had to say them in English, and I had to say them in Hebrew. And I said my lines out into the crowd. And I looked
at the age of 4.
And I looked out at the crowd, and there weren't that many people there. 200 maybe? Not more than that. It couldn't have held more than maybe only 50. In my child's brain, it seemed like a whole lot. But what the important part was that every face was looking at me, and they were all smiling. I was 4, and I fell in love with the energy I could feel coming out of the audience. It was an amazing thing. So that set the hook. I fell in love with being a performer on stage. I couldn't get enough. I sang all through school, all through elementary. I couldn't get every assembly, everything I could get my hands on. Middle school, I was in the choir. High school, I sang my way through school. I mean, it was great. I was in two different choirs for most of my high school years. It added to my GPA, I gotta say, having extra A's. But University of Michigan saw me and came and gave me a scholarship to sing for voice. So I had a scholarship to University of Michigan, full boat ride. All I had to do was
See,
sing.
that's another thing I didn't know about you. I didn't know you could sing.
Well,
so then you had full scholarship.
But you know what? I wasn't making a living. My parents weren't really impressed, shall we say, with a music major son. My father came from a blue-collar family. His dad was a bus driver. My dad had a custodial maintenance company, 20 employees or something like that. So, he was a hard-working guy, going out stripping and waxing floors and emptying waste baskets in offices after they've closed. So it's a lot of nighttime stuff. And over the years, he hired more people and built his business up. Meanwhile, he had 30 employees, 50 employees. I'm singing la 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 la. I'm gonna, he's like, hey, Daryl, why don't you come into the business and you can start cleaning carpets? And I'm like, well, Dad, I can, I'm singing tonight in a show. My band, Dad, my band. And he goes, your band isn't going to pay you. You're not going to buy a house with a band. You're not going to have a wife and a kids. What are you going to tell your wife? I can't feed you until the band gets paid tonight at the bar. So I started cleaning carpets, and I started making more money than a lot of my friends who were graduating from college. Plus, I had a good 4 year head start. Well, 3 years anyway. 3 year head start on a lot of my peers towards earning potential and just figuring out where I am in life. I mean, a lot of us didn't figure out who we are until after college. But I left the house at 18, and I found out pretty darn quick right and wrong, um, good and evil, how to feed myself and how to feed others. So, you know, I started cleaning carpets, and I made a living. Fell in love a few times, and left the Detroit area. I fell out of love in a very hard way, so it was time for me to go, if you know what I mean. My sister
Yeah.
was going to teach English in Thailand, so she was in Washington State, and I was just going to come for 2 weeks, just to get my head clear, figure out again what I was going to do with the rest of my life. I had been with the prior relationship for 3 years. A lot of history happened there. A lot of things went on, but the moving across country wasn't supposed to be a move. It was just supposed to be a vacation. It's just supposed to be a little stopover in life. And I fell in love with Seattle. I was there like 3 days, and my sister took me to Snoqualmie, and oh my goodness, it was just beautiful summer, and not one drop of rain. Beautiful weather. Lake Washington was lovely. People were great. I mean, people give Seattle a hard time these days, sometimes, because we want to believe that Seattle people are sincere. And we are sometimes, to your
Yeah.
face. Um, but at the time, Seattle, Renton, where I ended up putting some roots, downtown Capitol. I was in Capitol Hill for a long time when I first got here, my first summer, um, 11th and Union. It was a wonderful time. I really did. As in my young 20s, figure out how adults work. I mean, I bought a car. I came to Seattle with $200. I was just coming to spend some time with my sister. It wasn't going to cost me any money. I wasn't going to rent an apartment. I wasn't going to buy a vehicle. I wasn't going to need clothing or
Yeah.
some way to wash it. But the second place I called, I said, "Hey, man, do you need any experienced carpet cleaners?" And he says, "How soon can you start?" I says, "Well, I could start tomorrow." He goes, "How about tonight?" Over the phone.
Yeah.
Um, and it taught me a few things. I mean, there's certain careers that you can get a job. I mean, I could sing my way across country if I really wanted to, but I don't know how much of a career I could make doing that, really. Even as good as I thought I was. But cleaning carpets, man, any city I could put a foot down in, I could make a few phone calls and get a job. At least get an interview right away. I mean, and once they know you can clean carpet, they can put you to work. A lot of it's commission. Honey, could you turn the heat up for a second? A lot of my tongue. A lot of it's commission. Um,
I didn't realize it was commission.
yeah. So, the harder you work, the more you get paid. It's late night work, a lot of it. But when I moved to Seattle, I mean, I sold the Denny's account. I had 76 Denny's up and down I-5. I did every one, all of them. That were all me. 2 a night, 5 nights a week. I made a lot of money doing that. I loved cleaning carpets. Did water damage restoration. Did that for many years. Started cleaning Oriental rugs. You see, all the time, I'm part workaholic, you know? I know in my heart, I want to perform for people. So sometimes the only performing I get is walking through a grocery store and smiling at a stranger and getting a smile. You know, I'm a bad addict when it comes to smiles, but that satisfied my need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a smile from a stranger just gave me something. But I'm having customers. But most of my customers were, you know, late at night businesses. I did a lot of commercial stuff because that's where the money was, right? More bang for the buck. You get 20,000 square feet as opposed to a couple hundred square feet in a house. So I hurt myself. I hurt my back. Had to have back surgery. And that put me out of work for a while. And I decided that I didn't want to go out and clean carpets when I got back, right? I wanted to have people bring their stuff to me. So I opened up a dry cleaners. There was one that was in the strip mall. The owner fell out. His deal fell through, and now they had to retool a whole tooled dry cleaners ready to go. All I had to do was sign my name, and I did with gusto. There was nothing in there, no hangers, no carts, no bags, no paperwork, nothing. Took me a week just to figure out what I still needed before I could really open the doors. Dry cleaning, I knew the fibers, I knew silks, I knew cottons, I knew wools, I knew how to operate all my carpet cleaning equipment and dry cleaning equipment that I did sofas and upholsteries and wall hangings and same fibers, same chemicals. And now people are bringing me armloads full of clothing, wools, jackets, sleeping bags, dresses, wedding dresses. So it was really a good part of my life because I got to see customers every day. I got to pass out smiles for free. And my coupons were on the back of the 3 major grocery stores around me. They had just started doing back of grocery store register tapes, and I was the 6th ad. Every 6th ad was Bella Cleaners.
Nice.
Bella Cleaners. So Bella Cleaners went on for a while, and my heart was full, and I had a wife, and I bought a house, and I had big plans for Bella Cleaners. I was going to start a school. I was going to teach people how to dry clean. Like I felt when I came to Seattle, being a carpet cleaner, finding work anywhere I wanted to go, anywhere I could go in the country. If I was smart, I could find a job. Same thing with dry cleaners. You'd be surprised how much they pay a shirt presser, how much they'll pay somebody to do pleats on somebody's outfit, on a lady's skirt. So, started making more money than I knew what to do with, and my life felt like I was halfway through my 20-year plan. My 20-year plan was to work, was to give up on my dreams. Well, let me say that again. Was to hold on to my dreams. I needed a house. I needed a family. I needed a baby. It was important. And being a bar rock star, even I had a contract with MCA for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Wow. And it didn't work. It just wasn't meant to be. We lost a member of our band. Horribly. And our story ended there. Back to dry cleaning. I'm halfway through my plan. I'm halfway through. I'm thinking about 2010, I'll be done. I'll be retired. I'll have more money than I'll know what to do with, and I can act for the rest of my life. I've been on stage all through school, all through college, all through private life, trying to perform in as many. We won Battle of the Bands in Detroit, 1984. Dry cleaning was a tool. It was an avenue. It was just something I could do that didn't occupy my spirit. It occupied my body. It put my body to shame. I was exposed to a lot of chemicals and vapors. But I had employees, and I paid them whatever they asked. Whatever they asked for, I gave them. I think I don't even know what the current rate is in Seattle or Washington State. I think it's like $7.45, something like that, $8 an hour. I was paying people $10 an hour just to walk in the door. You want to be my counter girl? You've never had a job before? I'll pay you $10 an hour. Just please don't steal from my register. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you know what I mean? And I had talented quality pressers in the back, and they were like, I've been pressing for 12 years. Yeah, how much have you been making? Well, I've been making $11 an hour. How much do you want? Well, how much are you going to give me? How much are you worth to me? I'm worth $14 an hour. You got it. And that person was worth $14 an hour plus 10% a garment. I'm sorry, 10 cents, 10 cents a garment. So it's a bonus. I loved it. I really did. And things happened. My school was going to happen. It was all the paperwork, everything was happening until 9/11 happened. And a lot of the banks decided that loans were not going to be approved. And my business had been scheduled to move into the new location. And now I have no location to move into. And so my beautiful cleaners in Federal Way, who made me feel the most alive and the most satisfied and the most centered of tools of careers that I could use, knowing full well it was a temporary, but I was only 10 years through my plan. Fizzled out, fell apart. And shortly thereafter, so did the marriage. So now I'm finding myself a single dad. The wife left, and I have my baby in the house and the car, and not a whole lot of income. Basically just savings. And me and my baby went through that pretty quick. So yeah, I know about having to live in a tent, Joe. I know a little bit about having to stay with my child and my cat in a tent in the state park and have to move it every couple of days or else the ranger would get mad. I know about that. I know a little bit about that. But we move on, right? We move forward. 2009, I was living pretty much destitute. I had a place to stay. It cost me $350 a month. The basement flooded. There were rodents. It was basically in the middle of 5 acres, 10 acres. I'm sorry, 10 acres in South Tacoma, Golden Givens area, if you know that area. Right across from a retention pond that the city dug that made everybody's basement flood.
Oh.
So Um, I don't know why, but I just started Facebook. I've never really been a computer guy, right? I used it for email and stuff, but never played games, never knew Facebook, never done nothing like that. But I ran into a meetup page, and there were three guys there, and all drinking beer, and we all talked about wanting to make movies. And um, one of them said, "Hey, you can sing?" I said, "Yeah," because we were all like talking about our shit. What could we do? Where's resumes? What do I? Who needs a dry cleaner? You want to make a movie with a dry cleaner? Um, He's like, "Hey, you can sing?" I says, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, my brother's been writing music. He's been in a band." I go, "Well, I've been in a band, and we want to film it. It's like a rock opera." I'm like, "Wow, a what? A rock opera? Yeah, you should meet my brother." And I'm like, "Okay." So we met up again. Um, John Kephart and Joseph and John, the brothers, and we spent 2 years in a recording in a it's a recording studio, but we just practiced in there. We spent 2 years practicing music that he was writing, an original rock opera. We were delusions of Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We filmed it. It took us the better part of a year. It's on YouTube. Send you a link. It's 28 minutes. We should have made it 90. We should have made it longer. Oh my God. Because everywhere we took it, nobody wanted it because it was too long to be a short film and too short to be a feature. So even though we worked so hard on this and the music was good, and for 2009, the editing was great, and can't find any place to put it. So it sits on my YouTube channel in a black and white version and a color version. 2009. But what I got to tell you, that did for me though, that 2 years in the practice room and going to bars every night, talking about making movies and talking to other people, we started clumping together other people who made movies. Randy Sparks was making movies down in Tacoma. He had already made a feature film, and like he was like a guru to me at the time. He's still a guru to me. Never diminish that man. And I decided that what we need is a Facebook group to like keep track of all these people I was meeting. It wasn't supposed to be like a personal phone book, but it was like the idea of like, who's a camera guy? Well, let's put a list of camera people together. Like, who knows how to record sound? I don't even. Do we? Is there a sound? I mean, I'm used to wind up cameras when I was a kid that only recorded black and white, no sound. I mean, that's how old
Yeah.
I am. 1 second. So I gotta just say the experience of practicing and meeting and feeling like I was an actor, feeling like I was a musician again, saved my life. Really, in a lot of ways, I was feeling so down, so beat up, so lost. Right, it was a bad part of my life. Um, in a relationship again that had been energy sucking, if you will. By meeting other people, by getting myself out of myself for a few minutes, and more by helping everybody I could get my hands on, everybody who needed me, anybody who didn't even need me, they just, would put up with me. I popped myself out on set and I put myself out there, volunteered. Man, I was making a Social Security disability income, you know, $900 971, I think, and maybe if that. And I would still put up $200 or $300 of my money to get a film going. It wasn't for my own self-aggrandizement, all, but there's 20 people here. Let's put on a fucking film. Let's do something with ourselves. God, if Spanky and Buckwheat can do it as kids, so can we as young adults. And it started working, and we started getting more little groups together. Tacoma Filmmakers wasn't the first, but we were in a good spot in Tacoma because we were close to Olympia, halfway between Olympia and Seattle, and I could go to both, other film groups. There really wasn't one I was a fan of at the time in Seattle when we first started Tacoma, but there was something in Bellingham. Oh my God, it was worth the ride out to Bellingham, the college town. They had a thriving film community. They didn't need Seattle, Seattle had the 48-hour film festivals and other little festivals and stuff, but as far as the community goes, I couldn't find it at the time. So I was trying to build something I wanted to be proud of, build something I wanted to be a member of. And the first couple hundred people were easy to find. They wanted to be part of something too. And then there was crossover people from Bellingham and Olympia. And then I found a couple people, out in Kitsap area. So out on the very, very far west side of the world of America. There were people that were hungry, and they didn't know why. They wanted a community, but they didn't know, like us, we don't know each other really. We've seen each other for years. We rub elbows, we laugh. You need to come to my house for dinner. I mean, that's how it is. We need just not sharing a beer. Sharing a beer is nice after you do something. That's cool. But building a camaraderie, a community of working individuals who become long-term friends was something I wanted. I wanted to have people that wanted me to be their god kid, godfather, whatever. All right, now I'm getting off track.
Yeah.
2009. And by 2019, we had 5,000 members, 2,500 members in Tacoma Filmmakers that were active local film people that you could count on. You could do a crew call and have your entire crew filled in a weekend or so. Casting might take longer. And crew might take longer if you're selective. And crew should take longer if you're going to do any pyrotechnics.
Yes, noted.
I loved making movies. I really do. I got 70 IMDb's. Wow. I don't know if I'm done, but my dad is 82, and he called me up and he said, I'd really want to see you. I said, oh, okay. He goes, would you think about coming back? Yeah, I'll think about it. Why? I'd like you here. Okay. What do you want me to do? He's got 300 employees who have nobody else.
Wow.
And I didn't have anything else going on. I had been sick for quite some time. Shoulder surgery since 2019. And oh my God, hospital stays. And believe it or not, I had a PICC line tube going into my heart. And every day I had to give myself an injection. I could send you photos. Gosh, I had to give myself infusions daily. and flush the line out and keep it clean. I was fighting an infection that was raging through my body. I got the infection from the operation. So
Wow.
I was in bad shape for quite some time.
So, Darryl, let me ask you this. Your story is fascinating, powerful, and inspirational, and you've been through a lot, and you've had a lot of experience. And the weird kicker of it is that you were in Kitsap County, I'm in Kitsap County, and I had no clue until I saw your post. And but that's exactly why we're doing podcasts, because a lot of people don't know who's around us. And but let me ask you this: I have a few questions I want to ask you in regards to acting,
Yeah.
your experience within the community, with your 70 plus credits within the film industry. What, in your perspective, what makes a good actor?
Reacting, listening. What did you say? I mean, that's what really makes it, is being in the moment, being there. I mean, you're not just there to, and he said he was going to go to the, you're not there just to be an automaton. You're there to be loose. You're there to perform, yes. But you're there to just be real. Just right? React. How do you react if your son spills milk on the counter? How do you react? Do you do it this way? Do you do it that way? Do you stand there wiping it with a cloth? No, you're just a dad. You go, oh man, I'm sorry. Oh God, let me get this. Hold on a second. You just react. That's all it is. That's the biggest secret to acting. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: did you ever, when you were acting, like when you were singing and you had that scholarship, did they teach you anything about acting and reacting? Did you take any classes?
No, no. In fact, I stayed away from the musical theater people because they just seemed too dramatic for me, really. They scared me. I mean, I loved performing. I love people. I love strangers. But they're the people who are like, Ethel Merman. There's no business like show business. They're like flying around all over the room. No, that's not me. I'd rather just raise an eyebrow or cross my eyes or something subtle, something small, dainty, something capturable by film. Um, what was the question?
So our audience, people who are, this is mainly geared for people who are starting in the industry,
Yeah.
want to learn acting. How valuable do you find workshops, acting schools, acting curriculum, if it's just as simple as reacting? And if it is just as simple as reacting, why do you think so many people push classes?
It's not the simple on off of a reaction or no reaction. There are so many different gradients of a reaction. It's oh. I mean, how high can you get? How little can you get? How 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 much is necessary for the scene? So that's where the acting classes come in handy, is to actually fit the room, fit the set, fit the moment. Are you in a library? Are you in the practice room of a library? Are you in a little conference center? How loud can you be? How much is it going to take before the librarian comes in and yells at you? I mean, but how small can you be? How much of a whisper can you do before they can't pick you up anymore? Before the sound guy comes and yells at you and pokes at you with a stick? So many different levels of everything. That's what acting practice is coming for. Sometimes you can do it just cold. You walk in out of your trailer, just picked your nose and everything, and you walk out onto set and they go, okay, what are your lines? And you go, all right, everybody, get out of the area now. Perfect. Great. Go back to your trailer. And then the rest of the whole world changes and you come back out. Now you're on a gravel road. So, I mean, yeah, it can happen, but that's not being a good team player, right? That's not being an actor. That's being a movie star, right? There's a difference. There's a difference. We're a team. We're a member of a unit that's needing us to be in the moment, to listen to the direction, to listen to our people around us. But that's where the practice comes in, is being able to say, okay, all right, you're a barking dog. Now be a little dog. Now be a big dog. I mean, you can practice the differences for whatever scene it is. Honey, I love you. I love you too, honey. I mean, it's not necessary when you're whispering close together.
Right.
So, but practicing isn't enough. You got to practice on camera. You can't just practice in a room in a library. Sure, you can read lines. Yeah, you can have a group of people getting together and doing wonderful things. I've done it. Table reads. Oh my God, let me tell you about table reads. But the final thought is you got to practice on camera for a few reasons. But you got to know where you are in the room. You got to know where the camera is. Even though we never look at the camera. Oh my God, there's aliens everywhere. Huh, I don't see a camera from here to Toledo. But you got to know where the cameras are. You got to have set etiquette, right? Set etiquette. But one of the best things an actor can do to get acting practice is just a humble little table read. Have fun. I did a thing called Tacoma Screenwriters as an offshoot of Tacoma Filmmakers. And we went around to Seattle. We went around to Bellingham. We started Bellingham Screenwriters Group. Brenda Jalitz and I. They didn't have anything. We started something up there for them. No, let me say it again. Their screenwriting groups were coming to Tacoma to read their scripts. So what we did was we had a table. We rented out a spot at the Grand Theater, and they just gave us a couple tables. We slid them together, and people would bring scripts that they've been working on, either ones that they've been working on over weeks and weeks and weeks, or a big one that they just wanted to work on a section with. So we tell people, bring 10 pages, bring 30 pages, whatever it is, and we'll bring actors. So we would put out a casting call. I would put out a casting call for actors. I got years worth of back. Once a week was Tacoma Filmmakers. I'm sorry, once a month was Tacoma Filmmakers. Once a month was Tacoma Screenwriters. And we had actors and we had writers and we had a vibrant community that would sit and read and perform for each other. And we all got much better for it. Writers came and listened to how actors performed their scripts, which is important because writers don't understand that an actor has to actually say these lines. So writers need to understand as well how they write a script is for an actor to react. It's for an actor to portray. It was a great experience for the writers. It was a great experience for an actor. Oh my God, just something fun to do on a Sunday night. You want to do something fun? Go do a table read. Oh my God, meet some new people, react. It's fun. It's great. And people who facilitate it are blessed.
Do you find that a lot of the actors that participated actually got casts in those
More than you'd believe. More than you'd believe. In fact, what I found was that writers would rewrite their scripts to fit an actor. They would see an actor at a table and they go, "Oh my God, you're perfect for the role of," and they would rewrite. In fact, it happened to me. Kit Wilson wrote a script called Trick Shop. There wasn't a character in there. He wrote a whole character just for me, and I filled up the whole short. I didn't have any lines, but my character was pantomime the whole film. So I was in almost every scene. It was wonderful.
How do you prepare for a role, both mentally and physically, especially in demanding roles that would require you to do something that's against your moral statute?
That's a couple different questions. I'll give you an example. It was going to be $5,000 pay. It was a 2-year license. It was print and billboard ads. It was a renewable. And there was going to be a video commercial and billboard ads for it. I had to be an abusive father who was raping my daughter. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. I sat in the room and thought to myself, well, how would, and it was so against, I got so uncomfortable, just even the dynamics or mechanics of how you would even portray that on a set. Forget about reality. How would that feel to me on a set? How would I feel seeing myself on a billboard as that guy? I turned it down. I don't know what happened to it. It was for, a large organization, a national organization. I couldn't do it. I tried to picture myself as somebody that was against my moral code. Now, shooting somebody on film has many different gradients as well. Are you shooting a bad guy? Are you shooting a good guy? Are you shooting somebody who deserves it according to the plot of the film? Is it an alien? Are you shooting viruses with a laser, or is your microscopic and a little bloodstream kind of guy? I mean, none of that goes against my code. Even a Russian spy, a terrorist. No, that I could portray those as easily as playing a bus driver. Come on, kids! Come on, men! I mean, it's almost the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
Different degrees of volume.
Yeah. What about Killcraft? Did you have to do anything in that?
I shot at people. Yeah.
Were you a protagonist or antagonist?
I was off camera most of it. I had one scene where I was holding a weapon towards a person, I think, and then they shot me and I fell down, and that was it. I wasn't even up close because I was in. This is Killcraft the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I blew things up. I was doing that's where I did the pyrotechnic explosions.
Oh, okay.
That's where they were. Do you remember the bedroom set in the cabin?
I haven't seen the film, and I wasn't part of it. No.
I have a device. It shoots 68 caliber dust balls. It looks like a handgun, but it's not. It shoots dust balls like high impact dust balls that would hurt you, like a pepper ball gun. You know what a pepper ball gun is? Like a police pepper ball kind of thing. It shoots dust balls, and when they hit the wall, choo, they look like an explosion or a bullet ricocheting. And I can change the different formulas, the different peppers or the different powders. Sorry, powders. And I can make it look like different things. That's where I was shooting at Michael Paré. He was running along a fence line, and I'm using my skill and my device, and I'm shooting at the fence as he's running by, pew, 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 to make it look really effective. When you see it in the film, it'll look really good. I did the explosions in the film. They were small because I'm a safety conscious person, but they will look grandiose on film, and I think they added some CGI, so I don't mind.
How did you get into that domain, pyrotechnics? I didn't even know until you mentioned it.
I was how
did that start?
I liked fires. I liked fires when I was a kid, but not because of the fire, because of the smoke. I loved watching the way the smoke wafted away. I loved clouds. And I was watching a show one time, and they were testing out fireworks in the daytime to, the big percussive shells that make the big shower of beauty. And I saw the shells going off in the daytime, and they were leaving trails of sparks, sure, but each trail left an umbrella of cloud, of smoke. So there was like this weird shaped thing that would boost the shells, and all the shells, blah, 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 and there'd be little ribbons of smoke that would float away like a little octopus in the sky. I fell in love with that. Oh my God, I could watch that all day. It just so happened I ran into a person who was here, Washington State, from Alaska. She was doing a show at the Seattle Tennis Club, or Seattle Yacht Club, and asked me if I felt comfortable being able to wire um, fireworks shows. And I said, I don't know, but I can wire irrigation systems, and I can wire a phone system. I guess I could wire a speaker system. It's not much harder than that, except, if you make a mistake, instead of a speaker going, you lose a hand. So the reality of it all hit home, and I was very careful. Let's just say the first time I did it, I didn't know what I was doing, and I started off small. And the person who was teaching me taught me finger for finger what to do, really finger for finger. And I learned, what not to do. And just like acting, man, you make a mistake in acting. Sometimes if it's a live performance, you can just play it off, right? I meant to say that. Ha 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 ha. And in film, you get to take two sometimes. But for pyrotechnics, you got a couple hundred people, maybe a couple thousand people in a little city somewhere on the 4th of July, and they're paying you good city money to have a nice 15-minute show, right? With a nice long finale. And it's raining, and you've been there all damn day, and everything's wet, and all your charges are under tin foil over the tops of your tubes, and you're hoping to God you can keep everything together and on time, and it's getting to be 9:45, and it's starting to get dark, and the scheduled to go off at specific time, and I ended up being the guy who got to push the buttons, which is the worst job in the world. Literally, I'm in a little box. It's a fireproof box with thick steel plates, and I'm close to the explosions, and I'm wearing earring protection, and I'm wearing eye protection, and I'm wearing a hard hat. And I'm in a little thing looking down at a little board, and all I can do is go pin A, pin B, pin C, pin D, pin E, pin F, and I'm timing the show. We have a little choreograph, so I know how many strikes I can do in a row. Ding, a ding, a ding, ding, ding kind of thing. We're launching up, 3-inch shells, 4-inch shells into the sky. It takes a while to get up to where they need to go and then launch. And then, you want to have another one ready to go or already in air as the other one's exploding. So there's choreographing that's going on. And basically, I would be sitting in a little cube looking down through the whole show. Everything I loved about pyrotechnics up in the sky was not there for me. I'm going push, 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 push. I can
not what I imagined.
In my room. Push, push, push.
Yeah.
So,
how did you transition it into film then?
Pyrotechnics?
Yeah.
I was done. I was done. I didn't want to do anymore. I have all of my fingers. I had done live shows. I did LeMay's. I did a lot of stadium shows. LeMay's anniversary festival. Oh my God, it's the greatest party ever. They're good people too, and they paid well for their fireworks shows. EFI was a company that was in town. I got a chance to work with some real good professionals that owned EFI. One of them passed away, and EFI had an accident on site, and they closed up their shops. One person got injured very badly, and one person got injured permanently. So, they were a great company and they had professionals. It was an accident with the truck. Something caught on fire inside the truck and caught somebody unaware. That's why I got done. I didn't want to do any pyrotechnics for films. I didn't have the budget. Nobody I knew had the budget for that kind of stuff that I could do anything that people paid me to do. Are you kidding? How big do you want it? How much money do you got? Yeah. Literally, it's that way. You want to have cars flipping? I can do cars flipping. You want to see a barn blow up? We can do barns blowing up, but it's going to cost you, and you don't get a take two. So
right.
Doing live performances was fun for me, but blowing things up is not fun. I'm as smiling as I am here. It's not something I smile about. It's so serious. Every step you got to watch, and it takes a lot of concentration, a lot of brain space, a lot of RAM, if you know.
What about Killcraft though? You said you did the effects there.
I was asked. I was asked very nicely.
That's all it is. They said please.
Brother, I wanted to be a part of that film so bad. I knew it was a big production here in town, and I knew that the production values were there, that I could add something to the film, even if I was supplying all the materials myself and I just sent them a bill later. I probably shouldn't have done that. I bought stuff special for them and I made it beautiful as I could, but we really should have. They were already in production. I was like, I had 2 days to put stuff together for the show. I had no idea. The day before that happened, I was just, let's put on a 4th of July show, honey, maybe this year. I had no idea I was going to need smoke and lifting charges and special formulas that I won't mention that do things that give us a good effect.
Yeah.
I had no idea I was going to do it. I was begged. I was offered anything I wanted. So I threw together stuff that I could, and I made things as safe as I could. I brought my materials with me, and I manufactured a little bit of dust here and a little bit of a lifting charge. It was basically, if you can think of a firecracker underneath a bowl of cremora, and it just goes poof, floats away. That's basically all I did, was add cremora to a firecracker.
Nice.
Maybe a hair larger in scale, but basically that's what it was. It's a lifting charge and dust powders. Cremora works wonderful, but don't tell anybody my secrets.
Sounds good to me.
You got to be able to electrically. You got to be able to electrically charge or electrically detonate your.
You mean I can't just put a hose and fill it with air and have a hose line go all the way out, and all I do is hit a button that sprays the air and it goes.
Yeah, you can do that too, but that's air. Don't do that. Okay. You'll put pyrotechnics out of business.
All right, because can you share an experience where you deeply connected with the character you played and how it affected you personally?
I did a student film. The name of the film is called Daniel. I had already been acting a little bit, and it was, like I said, one of those things where you just, hey man, we need somebody to come out because we're students. Do you know anybody who does acting? I'm an actor. Look, you want to come out and spend some time with us, and we'd like to give you lines and stuff. And I said, okay. And I got there and there were no lines. There were no lines. So we need you just to be like, it's like your parents are in comatose and stuff. And we just want you to like be, okay? And I laid on my back because the first shot was me laying on the ground, looking up at the camera. And there's, students. And they're like, okay, talk about a traumatic experience from youth about your parents. I'm like, fuck. All right, well,
Wow.
there's this one time when I was like laying in bed and stuff, and I was having a dream, and I was walking down the hall, and the hall was getting longer, and I started to sweat, and I don't know why I'm here, but I start reaching, and I recognize the door, and it's my parents' bedroom door, and I see the knob, and I turn the knob, and I open up the door, and inside it's my parents fucking. They're fucking. In fact, they're not just fucking. They're creating me. It's my parents. This is my birth. Wait a minute. I'm watching myself being born. I'm just having a fun time with it. These children were laughing. They're crazy. I'm surprised the camera spool wasn't shaking so much because he couldn't contain himself. I connected not so much to the character, but how much outlandishness they were allowing me to portray. My character was whatever I wanted to do. You're on set. The director says, I need you to be an attorney. All right, I'm an attorney. I'm the best attorney in town. In fact, I don't even have to make funny faces. But these people let me make the funniest faces I could. In fact, I went out of my way to make the most incredible funny face I could. In fact, I actually got this thing on my neck because I was making such a funny face. It actually, it's called Daniel. It's on my YouTube channel. Connecting to the character, I think I connected more to those kids, and watching that character, I think I portrayed what's inside me, the more truest form than any of the other characters I've ever expressed. Is that, I don't know if that even makes any English. I think it
Yeah, I
was
think it
purest
yeah.
they caught as a character I've ever portrayed, who's really not me.
Say that again. I heard the not
The
me, and that's where you
purest
lost me. I was like,
form,
wait.
I think it was the purest form of a character I've portrayed. The purest form of a character I've portrayed that came from within me, that is not me.
Even though they were laughing and cracking up.
They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to direct an actor. I don't think they'd ever met one before. They didn't understand that actors used lines. They just thought I could come in there and be upset with the person for the bill that they're giving to my parents. Well,
They were just
I can't pay it. I'm a pizza delivery guy. I make the pizzas. What is your job? I'm in charge of product disbursement. Oh yeah? What do? I spread the cheese. I mean, I made this stuff up as I was there. It's hilarious. Oh my God.
So if you think, let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
If you think that is the truest form of a character that is not you,
Oh.
and that really resonated with you,
Yeah.
is that because there was no boundary?
I have another film that I did. It's called The Collectors. I think I sent you the link to that one too. Where basically the same thing happened. Scott Linson, my friend, Scott. We did The Artifact with Scott.
That's good. Yeah.
We were behind it. We were behind his house. He said, "Hey, let's come over and make a movie." So a couple of us just went to his house, and he just pulled out his cell phone, and we just started recording. And we had props, and we had pizza, and we had no script at all. We had props laid out. We had kind of an idea, something or other. You got to watch it. It's all ad lib. Everything is ad lib. The fight scene we did a little bit of slow motion, and the guys did do a little bit of choreography for the fight scene. take 3 or 4 or 18, but the actual dialogue was all ad-lib dialogue, and it was all
Yeah.
me. There you go.
So do you think you like it because there is really no boundary? Then you're not worried about the lines. You're more focused on what would this character do at the time, right?
Yes.
And you just go.
Even when I have dedicated lines that I must say, I mean, if it's something specific, it's 8.17 gigahertz before we can get to the ultrasonic, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's fine.
Right.
I get that. But if it's like, Henrietta, I'm kind of hungry. Do you have anything over there that's kind of like, more delicious than apple pie? Now, that wasn't the line. And certainly my way of giving it was not written, but it was written as cherry pie. But I just couldn't get the cherry out. I got the sore in my mouth. So apple pie was what I said. Does that make sense? When they give you that kind of freedom on set, I hope I'm not too manic. When they give you that kind of set on freedom.
No, you actually kind of remind me of an acting teacher, but so.
when the director gives me, specifically me, that kind of free reign on set, I will take it. And I will sometimes stick to the point, but if they give me a take 2, I will take 2. Trust me. I will love giving them what I think the character actually thinks. I will give the line on take 3 or 4. If I got to do it again, I'm going to give you a different line. This is what the character's actually really thinking about. It's not about, all right, people, get out of the area. It's, get out of the area, people! I know, I just
make
yelled.
sure I don't wear
my mom over there.
Or hell.
What?
Headphones.
I scared my wife over there.
What would you say has been the most challenging role to date?
I guess the one has yet to happen.
So they're not.
I've had stuff that's been more difficult. Some things were very long lines that you want to get right. You want to do it in one take. And I had a hard time sometimes when you have a whole paragraph to go, and it's not just standing at a podium reading a line. You gotta have it come from within you. You gotta think these words. You gotta portray the thought of it coming out of you, not just the words, right? So, choreography again. These are things that are good when an actor has a chance to be on set in front of the camera with a director, maybe even a sound guy. You don't need anybody else. Just run through the damn lines with me a couple of times so I know where I'm going. I know what I'm saying. I can get the timing right, and I can feel like I have a mastery over my domain. I occupy this space instead of just walking through it. Does that make sense? I had a role where they had a huge desk, and I'm supposed to be working hard. There's all kinds of objects all over the desk, and I'm supposed to be watching one of my employees over there. He's like fucking around, and I'm watching him, and I'm doing my work. I'm watching him, and I'm like picking up a phone. I'm watching him. Now I got the stapler. Now I got the laser light. Now I'm upset because now I'm watching him. I got all these props all over my desk, and I'm using them all. And the people are like freaking out. You're making too much noise with that. And I'm like, you know what? Staplers make noise. And I had so much fun playing with the crap on the desk. They started taking things away. They started tying things down. They started stapling all the papers together. They put a big file cabinet on top of a stack of papers so that in and out, so that I wouldn't be able to move the papers around. Okay, I wasn't trying to be a horror to the sound gentleman. But when you give an actor a chance to occupy a set, you gotta let yourself just flop out and enjoy it, right? You gotta be there. Because people know if you're a stick sitting on a sofa. They know if you're an old man flying a kite with a young boy. They know that you're not just flying the kite, you're facing the camera. Oh, look, this little child. Oh, look, hold the cord with me. No, you're not making a Kodak moment. You're just being there in this. Let the camera do the work. Just act,
Be in the moment.
dance,
Yeah.
and play.
And hope they can cut around it.
If they got to see over your shoulder, then that's their fault.
All right, so let me ask you this. Now you went from one extreme. How do you handle criticism and feedback about your performance? And how does it influence your approach to new roles?
Can we just back up 1 second?
Yeah.
Do you remember when I worked for you?
We did some skit on dating, right? It was the dating stuff.
You need to watch that again. When I mentioned about ad-libbing, everything I did for you was pretty much ad-libbing, wasn't it?
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that fun? Did you enjoy that, or was I just crazy? Did you just hate me after that moment?
I wasn't sure where you were going with the character. I mean, it did have a script. And I think you hit the beats of the emotional content of what I wanted, which was to have this guy be crazy.
He was gaslighting or whatever.
I'm trying to remember if was it the fact that
gaslighting? What do they call that? Date?
No,
Catfishing.
Catfishing. Yes, catfishing. And you were mesmerized by her hands.
Yes.
And I think you were in on this one too, where she had dated somebody.
She was
who was actually your son.
Yes. Those were what you gave me. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
You gave me a skeleton and said, okay, now go hang some meat on him.
Yeah.
I hope I...
And that was... That was a true story,
fun.
by the way.
I watch... Huh?
That was a true story. Yep. Surprise.
I had so much fun doing that. I watch that and I show it to people because I am so happy with it. I mean, it's just such a fun character. It's over the top. And I love that. Now, how do I handle criticism? When I do something like what I did for you, which was quite high over the top, unless they tell me on set, all right, now can you bring it down like 18 notches?
From a scale of 1 to 10, can you just bring it down to a 1?
Darryl, you're at 11. We need you to use your inside voice. Please.
Yeah.
Just talk to us, Darryl. It's okay. It's a microphone. It heard you. Okay. No, not really like that. But my performance, I get...
Have you ever had that happen? Has a director say, hey, can you just bring it down a notch?
I've heard them say that to me once or twice on set. But it's because I wasn't the main focus of the camera. I wasn't the main character of the shot. Okay. Here's a great example. I was on Twin Peaks, not to me.
You were upstaging? You're telling me you were upstaging?
Yes. David Lynch told me specifically, stop wagging my French fry too much. I was wagging my French fry too much. My French fry was acting. It was acting very upset with my neighbor.
Oh my gosh.
It's true. I was on
that's hilarious.
Twin Peaks, the Return, whatever it was. We filmed up in Snoqualmie.
Yeah.
I have stories of David Lynch I'll tell you personally later. It was fun. It was a great set. They fed us. They paid us. It was so much fun to be on a real television crew set. I mean, 300 people there, and transportation, and oh my God. I did Grey's Anatomy, which was a similar experience. You did Grey's Anatomy. Were you on Grey's? Yeah. Just background stuff, mostly. But they kept calling me back year after year because they needed me in Seattle. It was fun.
So what do you do? If the director tells you to tone it down, bring it down, how do you feel about that?
I'm there to serve them. I'm not a piece of art. I'm not a tree. I'm supposed to bring my flavor, even if it's a guy sitting in a booth behind the main star. I was taking all the camera. All the eyes were being drawn to my hand. Didn't matter if he was kissing a beautiful woman. Everybody was watching my French fry. Is he going to dip the fry? Is the fry going to get? Is there salt on the fry? Is it a salted fry?
We got to see if we can find that
He's
clip, and I'll
vegan.
insert it
You can't
in here.
have hamburgers. Brother, sorry, I'm getting excited.
I know. You like fries.
I liked fries. I liked working. I liked waving my fry. And when they told me to tone it down, I was acknowledged. I was noticed by David Lynch. I will wave my French fry proudly. And he said, I'm on. And do I take criticism? Yeah. Okay. So I stop waving my French fry so much. I'm on set with David Lynch. I'll do anything the man asks. I'll stop.
Oh, yeah.
No, I've heard criticism of stuff that I've done that people didn't like. I've heard criticism of stuff that I've done that people didn't use. It wasn't, as far as I can tell, it wasn't because of me. I tried not to take it personally. You know, you do a lot of stuff. You might have 70 credits on IMDb, but how many projects did you start? How many projects got halfway through or never finished? Or, you know, so you end up, you may have had 150 IMDbs at one point or on a career trajectory, but things fizzle, things die. And sometimes directors blame people or cameras or locations or the weather or Tuesday.
Storage.
Storage. Yeah, storage. Yeah, it's a horrible.
I've heard a lot of stories about the storage getting corrupted, backups not being done.
You got to have two storages on set. Put them on two and keep them separate and air gap. Oh yeah, but yeah. So there's a lot of looking forward. Let's look forward, shall we?
So Darryl, knowing how you like to go outside the bounds and turn up the volume, how do you avoid falling into repetitive patterns in your acting, ensuring each character is unique?
They all have a name. Every character has a name. Their name is really part of finding who the character is. Henry Mechel, Mechel. I sell bags to grocery stores. Mine are the finest 1 mil shopping bags you can get anywhere this side of Tuscaloosa. How do I find that character? I made the character up by the name. Sometimes you get to be so fortunate that you can just write your own character. Well, a lot of times you're not. I'm Officer Ted Scott, and I am a lieutenant in the X amount of police department, and I have specific duties and responsibilities, and I have a person in front of me who does not get any joy out of me. It does not bring me any pleasure to put this person in prison. That does not at all. No. He's 18. He's a young guy. He made a mistake, but now he's an adult, and now he's going to go to prison. It does not bring me any joy at all. Where do the characters come from? I don't know. I must have 18 personalities, but every single person is unique. Every single one is a joy, really, to let out of me. It's like scratching your back in a weird spot where, oh my God, that's the spot that's been itching me forever. Oh my God, that's it. Let me find that corner of a wall. It's an itch. I have been constricted sometimes with my roles. I've been very, shall we say, quarantined. My role is very small. My role is very tiny, and I'm not really there to do much more than just be a cantor. I'm supposed to
eat the fry, don't wag it.
Precisely. Lay on the table and just look like you're salted. You don't even have to actually be salted. Just act salted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Act
Yeah.
silly. What was your question?
Yeah, your repetitive patterns in your acting,
There are
ensuring
no
that everyone is
repetitive.
unique.
You can play the same character, but every time you play the character, you should add something. Not take away, not change, but add something interesting. Yeah, you might, if you have to play the same character night after night in a live performance or a repetitive show. I would have loved to have been a robot on an alien space program or something. Science fiction rock opera, science fiction musical comedy. I mean, that would have been gold for me right there. The Doctor on Star Trek. I mean, a repetitive character doesn't necessarily mean that it's the same character all the time anymore. We used to get away with things like that back in the day. The Doctor was, oh, he's dead, Jim. That's all he said.
Yeah.
Every episode.
Yeah.
They're all dead, Jim. They're all dead. He's dead. He's deader than dead. Yeah, but you can add different layers to even a repetitive role, a repetitive action in your role. Quincy, the medical examiner, back when I was a child, every episode he dealt with a dead person, and every episode he solved what killed this person. It was amazing to me. I watched it all the time. It was the same show over and over and over. It was like watching Gilligan's Island and expecting him to be rescued one day.
Yeah.
I mean, after a while, I don't even care if they get rescued. Ginger's pretty. So, repetitive. Yeah, some people like to see Al Bundy with his hand in his pants, yelling at a fat lady in the shoe department. To me, I thought that was repetitive. I mean, it was almost to the point of boring. I don't want to see Al anymore. I want to see more of Kelly. I want to see more of the youngsters. I want to see more of the comedy. I don't want to see just upset people. He was always grumpy. I want to see happy people. That 70s show, they were mostly all pretty happy. Just about everybody, even when they weren't smoking pot. They were happy individuals, happy characters. So there's no such thing as repetitiveness unless it's me talking to you on a podcast, repeating myself.
What about evolving your craft of acting in the advancement with technology, in the entertainment industry, in the way the films are going? How do you see the craft of acting evolving?
There's a lot of high-tech stuff. To be honest, it's evolving faster than most actors can keep up with these days. You just end up being fortunate to luck out. You respond to an advertisement on a page somewhere and says, we need an actor to come out here and be still for a couple hours and sit on a chair for 8 hours. And they do marking of your face and they do facial mapping and they mark little things and you do all this and you wear a headgear and it might take 8 hours and they get 15 minutes worth of stuff, but they got what they needed and they paid you and you feel like you're a success. It's the new way of acting. And if there's a paycheck in it, it's a great way of acting, really. Things are changing. Soon it's going to be hard for actors to make a living because computer generated images and characters will fill up a lot of space. It's real easy to produce. It's real easy and quick to manufacture, almost instantaneous. You can make a bear playing hockey on an ice rink wearing a Red Wings jersey instantaneously on the way AI is right now. So anything.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about AI?
Everything is a tool, right? Since we left the cave and picked up a pointed stick, we started using things around us as tools. AI might be a great tool, but just like any other tool, you don't run around hitting things with a hammer, right? You don't have to run around with, we don't run around with machetes anymore or axes in scabbards, because they're pointed, they're sharp. We don't need those as tools in our society much anymore. We've moved on to different tools, right? So AI as a tool, is it dangerous? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. If there is an artificial intelligence that becomes self-aware, I would like it to be my friend. Because that would be cool.
What about from an actor's perspective? I mean, you just said, we may not even need actors anymore.
We might not. But we might not need, well, let me start over. We might not need actors to portray characters in certain spots, in certain moments on video, film, commercials, what have you. But we're going to need actors to portray emotions. We're going to need actors to portray reality, right? Even if it's fiction, even if it's totally made up, right? But we portray reality in our world. We create reality, even if it's fiction. Everybody knows Gilligan screwed up this time. And man, we all feel sad about it because they ruined their chance of getting off the island forever. I mean, and then only the very small child really is sad that Gilligan can't get off the island. Everybody really knows that it's just a TV show, that he's just an actor, and he'll be back next week. Don't worry. He'll be back next week. We'll see what happens then. Maybe the Russians will save him then. That kind of thing. I don't know.
You're like, and scene. So looking at your vast experience, this widespread, I mean, you've done a lot of things in your career.
I've done many things
in this industry, and you've had opportunities, and you've had a moral drive. What advice would you give to aspiring actors about navigating the highs and lows of the industry? And do you believe acting classes are necessary for success?
Necessary? No. Acting classes are not necessary. They're a way to stretch your wings out. I recommend them. But not necessary. You want to know what's necessary is going door to door trying to sell carpet cleaning services or irrigation. You want to walk around 10 houses because you just did a backflow test. You made $50, in about 15 minutes. You can go to the neighbors and see if they have any backflow tests that need to be done too. That's another $50 I could make in 15 minutes. I mean, that's how you act. You act by living life. You act by having life's experiences. I feel for young children who haven't yet known the feeling of what it is to be behind in rent. But as an adult, I can portray that in a heartbeat. So the advice I give to actors is live a life that brings you to people. It gives you a chance to express yourself even to strangers. Having a service job is a wonderful way to act, to learn to act in front of. If you can learn to act to an upset lady because, for whatever reason, you can handle an upset director. You can handle a director that's happy with you. You can handle a bad day on set is better than the worst day in hell. No, wait a minute. How's that work? I'm not sure exactly how that works. Don't worry about it. That's the advice I give is live, learn, experience, read other people's lives, read about other people's, if you're young, especially if you're young, read about people who were young and grew old, read about their lives, see what kind of paths that they took up their mountain that everybody has to traverse before we're done. See what path they took. It may not be for you. That's okay. There might be one thing you learned in somebody's story, whomever it may be. God, I could tell you 100 different names that matter. But it's the story you make that matters, right? It's your path. So do it with honor, self-respect, dignity, right? No matter what you do, That's all I have to give anybody is live life and try and be as dignified as you can and try not to bring home any poop on your
Bring home any what?
poop on your shoe. You know, it happens.
Darryl, what is next? Is there anything that you're working on now or in the near future?
So where do I go from here? You know, the sky's the limit. I
Yes,
started Tacoma Filmmakers with just me and a couple of guys sitting around a table with the beer. There's probably something a little bit more elaborate than that going on in the Detroit area, I would think. I just need to
there
maybe
is.
reach out and plug in and you know, hey, when you got 5, 10, 20, 70 IMDb's, maybe it'll open the door for me. Maybe I can meet somebody who means to do something interesting, and I'm at the stage now where I'm past making films for fun or for experience. I'm gonna keep doing them for fun and experience, but I need to have my time matter. I need to make sure that the people who are going to make a film for television, for money, for high production values, where they're hoping to get a return on their dollar and get some fame and fortune out of their labor. I mean, art is great. Art for art's sake is wonderful, but art for the sake of money makes more art. And we all want to make more art, right? So being an actor means you get paid. Being, you know, I just want to have my time be used on projects that are viable. No more crashed attempts, I hope, in the future. I did a project called V Force. Oh gosh, I loved it. It was in Portland. And halfway through the production, it looked great. Oh my gosh. Halfway through the production, they ran out of money. It happens. Oregon got everybody paid except for people who came from the state of Washington. Oregon covered
Yeah.
everybody. You know, they thought it was important that the state should pay when a project like that. It was a SAG project, and it failed. And it can happen to the best of us. You know, even with big budgets, they had so many people on set. I don't think they accounted to how many dollars they were spending by manpower. They knew how much it would cost to have cameras and sets and locations and equipment and outfits. And man, they had guns and army guys, 20 army guys and 20 monsters. And we were shooting bullets and fighting and swords and armorers and costumers. And they had no idea. They were spending, in 10 days, they used up all their money. And they had a 28-day shoot.
Holy smokes. 10 days. Drain the count.
More so. So
Huh.
I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes, but I certainly saw what was going on in the scenes. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would have been a fun film. My role was great. I got to play a detonator demolitions man for the police, and you can see my life is revolving around
Yeah.
my household and my animals. This one's name is Bibi Netanyahu. Bibi. He actually
What?
playing with ball bearings, so we have a hardwood floor all
Oh,
through the house. And I was going to name him Pele because he likes playing, soccer. But
yeah.
BB just seemed to work out better.
It's hilarious. One last question of
Yes.
what is your favorite tech when it comes to film production?
Snow.
Snow?
I love it when they make it snow indoors. But I mean, you're in a set, you're in a sound studio. My favorite tech is how it looks when you're on set and it's snowing. And it's not snow, it's soap bubbles falling from the sky, wafting away, blowing in the wind, and they're beautiful. They sparkle and they look just like snow on camera. That's my favorite tech. It's a
All
practical
right.
effect.
That's a good. I haven't heard that one yet. So that's a good answer. Darryl, how can people reach you?
Darryl Robert Small at gmail. Actor Darryl Small. That's it. Actor Darryl Small with 2 R's. Oh my gosh. Actor
And we'll put.
DARIL. I don't email myself very often there, mister. People, usually do that automatically and stuff.
We'll put everything in the show notes. Don't worry.
My wife thinks I'm an insane human being. Actor Darryl Small at gmail.com. If you must.
Is it the only place?
All backflows testing at gmail.com. For a sideline. You got to have side income. I love you, brother. It's been a pleasure.
Facebook?
To you.
Is that the only place?
Darryl Robert Small on Facebook.
That's it.
Darryl Robert Small on X. And Darryl Small on YouTube. And you can call my mom.
Let me ask you something. As we end this and we dock the ship on our 3-hour tour, why Darryl Robert Small and not Darryl Small?
It is this.
Why the Robert?
I'm going to use my inside voice now because my wife is looking at me going, it's time for her to go to bed. Darryl Robert Small, because Darryl Small was already taken on IMDb. I didn't want to be Darryl Small II or be mistaken for Darryl Biggie's Smalls. Remember Darryl Biggie Smalls? Biggie Smalls?
Yeah,
his name was Darryl, just like mine. And there's another Darryl Small in local Michigan. So I went with Darryl Robert Small because that is my name.
Yeah.
And I thought it added a hair of Michael Allen Todd, James R. Token, Peter Piker Macbeth. I mean, it added a level of what I thought would be class and elegance without sounding like a serial killer.
That's awesome. Thank you, Darryl Robert Small, for your time, your insight into your world, your experience, how everything started, and where you're at today.
Where I'm at is halfway. I'm halfway home. 42 more years. Michigan. I'm available for your parties.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm cutting the